What if I told you that a tiny island nation with no natural resources transformed itself into one of the world's most prosperous economies? Yes, we're talking about Singapore. This remarkable city-state, known for its glittering skyscrapers and bustling ports, is the epitome of an economic miracle. Over the past several decades, Singapore has experienced phenomenal growth, leapfrogging from a developing to a developed nation in a generation's time. This extraordinary economic metamorphosis didn't happen by chance. It was the result of judicious planning, sound governance, and strategic investments in infrastructure and education. Singapore's leaders recognized early on that their country's greatest resource was its people, and they made it their mission to equip every citizen with the skills and knowledge needed to contribute to the nation's growth. So, how exactly did this little red dot on the map manage such an impressive feat? And what lessons can other countries learn from Singapore's success story? Dive with us into the impressive journey of Singapore's economic transformation. In 1965, Singapore faced an uphill battle for survival after gaining independence. The newly sovereign nation was a small city-state with no natural resources to speak of. It was a mere dot on the world map, dwarfed by the sprawling landmasses of its neighbors. But it was this very lack of resources that would ultimately become a catalyst for innovation and economic transformation. The small domestic market posed another challenge. Without a large internal consumer base to rely on, Singapore needed to look outward to international markets for growth. The nation's leaders recognized this early on and made strategic moves to position Singapore as a hub for international trade and commerce. Adding to these internal pressures were the geopolitical tensions simmering in the region. Newly independent, Singapore found itself in a neighborhood fraught with political uncertainties and conflicts. It was a precarious position to be in, but the nation's leaders navigated these tricky waters with a steady hand, ensuring Singapore's survival and stability. The early years were tough, no doubt, but they were also a time of great possibility. Singapore's leaders saw the nation's constraints not as insurmountable obstacles, but as unique opportunities to carve out a niche for the country on the global stage. They understood that Singapore's survival hinged on its ability to adapt, innovate, and constantly reinvent itself. And so, they set about building a robust, resilient economy that could weather the storms of change and uncertainty. These challenges, however, didn't deter the nation. Instead, they laid the groundwork for a remarkable economic turnaround. A pivotal role in Singapore's growth story was its government's strategic decisions. Let's delve into how these decisions have played the part of a catalyst in Singapore's economic success. One of the first and crucial strategies of the Singaporean government was to create an environment free from corruption. They established strong anti-corruption laws and set up an independent body to enforce these laws. This move ensured a level playing field for businesses, attracting both local and international investors. Next, Singapore implemented sound fiscal policies. The government managed the country's debt effectively, always ensuring it was within sustainable limits. They also built up substantial reserves, which acted as a buffer during economic downturns. This fiscal prudence has been a cornerstone of Singapore's economic stability. The government also made substantial investments in infrastructure. From world-class airports and seaports to efficient public transportation and well-planned urban areas, Singapore's infrastructure was designed to support economic growth. It facilitated trade, attracted foreign investment, and provided a high quality of life for its residents, which in turn attracted a talented workforce. Investment in education was another strategic decision that fueled Singapore's growth. The government recognized that human capital was key to their economic development. They built a robust education system that emphasized practical skills and innovation. This has resulted in a highly skilled workforce that continues to drive the country's economic growth. Lastly, Singapore was strategic in attracting foreign investment. They established a business-friendly environment with ease of doing business, low taxes, and strong intellectual property rights. This attracted multinational corporations, leading to job creation and technology transfer. These strategic decisions turned the tide for Singapore, setting it on the path of rapid economic growth. Education and infrastructure, the two pillars of Singapore's growth, cannot be overlooked. They have been the heartbeat of the nation's progress, playing an indispensable role in the country's economic miracle. Let's first take a glance at education. Singapore has consistently prioritized and invested heavily in education, understanding that a well-educated populace forms the backbone of a robust economy. The government recognized early on that fostering a skilled and adaptable workforce would be a magnet for multinational corporations looking for a fertile ground to set up their operations. Singapore's educational system, renowned for its rigor and high standards, has been instrumental in producing a workforce that is not only highly skilled, but also adaptable in the face of a rapidly changing global economy. This relentless focus on education has paid dividends, with companies from around the globe eager to tap into the country's pool of talent. Now let's shift our attention to infrastructure. Singapore's strategic location as a gateway to Asia has always been a compelling proposition. However, it's the country's world-class infrastructure that has truly cemented its status as a global business hub. From its state-of-the-art port facilities to its extensive road and rail networks, and not forgetting its world-leading broadband connectivity, Singapore has left no stone unturned in creating an infrastructure network that is conducive to business. This robust infrastructure has enabled seamless logistics and efficient business operations, enhancing Singapore's attractiveness as a global business destination. In a nutshell, both education and infrastructure have been the twin engines propelling Singapore's economic flight. They were not just idle investments, but strategic moves aimed at creating an environment where businesses could thrive and innovation could flourish. These investments paid off, creating a virtuous cycle of growth and development. Singapore's economic success story offers valuable lessons for other developing nations. This little city-state, with no natural resources to speak of, has set a precedent for a prosperous economy, thriving in the face of adversity. A critical lesson to take away from Singapore's story is the role of good governance. The nation has shown that a clear vision, strong leadership, and an unwavering commitment to long-term goals can propel a country toward economic success. The Singaporean government's dedication to its people's welfare, infrastructure development, and economic stability has been a cornerstone of its growth. Additionally, Singapore underlines the importance of investing in human capital. From the outset, Singapore recognized that its greatest asset was its people. It heavily invested in education, creating a highly skilled and competitive workforce that could drive its economy forward. This commitment to education has created a ripple effect, influencing all sectors of the economy, from technology to finance and beyond. Equally significant is Singapore's business-friendly environment. The city-state has consistently ranked high on the Ease of Doing Business Index, attracting multinational corporations and encouraging entrepreneurship. This approach has fostered innovation and economic dynamism, contributing to its impressive GDP growth. Lastly, Singapore's prudent fiscal management, particularly in managing the country's debt, is a lesson in itself. By maintaining a low public debt and creating surplus budgets, Singapore has ensured its economic stability and resilience, even in times of global economic uncertainty. While each country's path will be unique, the principles of Singapore's success can guide their economic growth. After all, it's not about copying a model, but about understanding the underlying principles and adapting them to your own country's unique context and needs. So, how did a small island nation become an economic powerhouse? Looking back, we see a story of strategic foresight, wise governance, and relentless ambition. Singapore's journey wasn't strewn with roses, but the nation's leaders made careful, strategic decisions that set the stage for economic growth. The government's policies, particularly in health, infrastructure development, and education, not only catered to the immediate needs, but also laid a robust foundation for the future. Education and infrastructure played pivotal roles. By investing in its people and building world-class facilities, Singapore created a conducive environment for businesses to thrive and for its citizens to excel. And what about the lessons for other countries? Singapore's story is a beacon of hope for nations grappling with economic difficulties. By emulating Singapore's focus on strategic planning, good governance, and relentless pursuit of excellence, these countries too can chart their own path to economic growth. Singapore's journey from a struggling nation to a thriving economy is a testament to strategic planning, sound governance, and the relentless pursuit of excellence.